What is up, everybody? It is Bart Johnson here. It is 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday, December something. What is the date today? I don't even know. But anyway, the important part is that Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which means it is time for us to go live and spend about an hour or so hanging out and chit-chatting and talking about some interesting filmmaking topics. Today, we're going to be talking about apps. So you may have seen, but a couple years ago, I actually put out a video about the best apps that I had found for filmmakers. Now, of course, that was several years ago, so that video is kind of out of date now. A lot of the apps that I had on there are either no longer available, no longer compatible. Maybe I found something that works a little bit better. And some of them are legitimately the same. But I figured it was about time. Let me turn this down a little bit just in case. I figured it was about time that I went and revisited that and saw what apps I'm using now several years later. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be going through the apps that I use, how I use these apps in my video production process. You know, some are for pre-production planning purposes, some are for while you're literally on the shoot, and others are to actually shoot with the mobile device, which I don't do much of, but you know, some people do. So we're going to go through, I'm going to give you quick demos of each of the apps today that I have on my phone. We're going to work our way through it. Of course, as always, guys, there are links to all of them down below, so you can feel free to go and check them out. Some are free, some are paid. I have paid for and purchased all the apps that I'm about to show you. So not sponsored. None of these companies have given me their apps or anything like that. These are legit just apps that I have paid for, picked up, and used in my video production process. So all of that is listed down below. And the other thing is I am an Apple, pardon me. I am an Apple user. So I have an iPhone 11 Pro is what I use here, and that's what we're going to be touring the apps on. But I have gone through and found out what apps, if any, are available also on the Google Play Store. So I will mention that as we go along through for those of you Android users. A lot of these apps are available on the Google Play Store as well, and I do have links to both the iOS version and the Google Play version in the description down below. All right, so we get all that out of the way right there. So I do want to, of course, acknowledge the fact that we are live today. So the beauty of these live streams is that you guys get to hang out and communicate with each other and with me as we go through everything. So throughout the show today, as always, I have the ability to pull our live chat up here onto the screen. So if you are here in the chat, please feel free to say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Maybe let me know if you're an iOS or an Android user. And if you have any questions or comments along the way, feel free to, of course, pop those into the chat. I'll always be monitoring that, and we'll have it up here on the screen. And if you're not watching live and you're watching the replay later on, of course, I appreciate you checking the video out, and hopefully you get some good use out of it and find some cool and interesting apps. But you know what? Come on, what are you doing? Make sure you go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, so that you can be a part of these live chats as we go in here. So looks like our chat is quiet today, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But I also, before we dive into the apps, those of you who may be familiar with our live stream process here, I like to do weekly polls during the live stream. And what that is I like to put a question out to you guys, let you guys go vote on that, give me your answers, and then at the end of the stream, we go ahead and we check out what the results were. So I am going to post a link to this week's poll in the chat for all of you live viewers. So there it is. It should pop up on screen in just a second. But let's take a look at what we're going to be talking about today. Weekly poll. All right, so we are going to talk about, of course, apps in video production and video creation process. So, hang on, what is going on here? Is my live chat different? I don't know. Hang on, I'll figure that out in a little bit. But anyway, here is our our poll for this week is how do you use apps in your video production process? And now this poll is a little bit different from others in that I have made it so that you can select multiple options. So these are some of the most common sort of categories that apps fall into, you know, using them as a slate, as a teleprompter, for drone flight planning, for actually controlling gear, or maybe you don't need no stinking apps. But anyway, go ahead, use the link in the chat. If it came through, let me try something here. Use that link in the chat, and there is also a link down in the description down below for you guys. So if you that live chat is not showing up. Let me see if I paste it in here. So if you are watching the replay, you can still participate in these chats because in these chats. In these polls because I do leave them up and leave them live. Why? Trevor's in here in the chat saying, I was wondering if you would pop on today. So that chat is working. I'm not sure why. The link that I posted did not. I'm going to try posting it again. Sorry here, guys. Trevor and anybody else in the chat, please let me know if you were able to see that straw poll link that I posted. Otherwise, it is down in the description below, so you can go ahead and vote using that. It's down in the description. But I do want to... Man, my throat today is killing me. All the weather changes and everything. We got snow here on the east coast of the U.S., and it's just been messing with me, so I got to stay hydrated. Trevor says if you're watching the replay and you can participate in chat, you might have magical powers. Yeah, little slip of my words there. But anyway, guys, I do want to get into these apps because there's a whole bunch of them. I'm not going to be able to walk you through every feature of every app, but hopefully I can give you enough information to see how I use it, why I use it, and get you guys. You know, maybe you'll find some stuff that you didn't know you needed and can assist you in your video production process. So I'm not going to worry about the chat and the poll. I see that the chat comments are coming up. I'm not sure why my links that I posted are not coming up. But again, if you want to vote, go ahead down to that link in the description and you should be able to vote there. But what I'm going to do here, like I said, I am on iOS. I have an iPhone 11 Pro Max here, and it is updated with the latest iOS. So all the apps that I'm going to show you today are supported by the current iOS version as of December 2020. So let me go ahead here, and I am going to pull up my phone. So here we go, guys. This is a live feed from my phone. And as you can see, I like to keep things organized. I know this is probably driving some people, all those notification alerts there. There's a lot of stuff going on. But anyway, I like to categorize everything into folders. You can see here I do have one called Gear Control where I have all the apps that control my gear. We're not really going to talk about those today because they're kind of specific, obviously, to whatever gear you are using. But what we're going to do is we're going to look in this folder here, which I have... God, goodness. Pardon me, guys. I'm telling you. The change in the weather just dehydrates the heck out of me. But we're going to look at this category here, which I have, of course, called filmmaking. So you can see I have 2 pages of apps in here, and these are the ones that we're going to be going through today. So without further ado, we're going to start going through these one by one. So the very first app that I want to share with you guys that I get a lot of use out of is this one here called Sun Surveyor. Now, what Sun Surveyor does, and you may have a similar app, is Sun Surveyor uses your GPS location, so you can kind of see what I've got going around in my room, and shows me where the sun is. So right now, if I were outside, the sun is up over that way. And it also shows me the path that the sun is going to take. And it has little time markers on it as well, and shows you exactly where the sun is going to be at what time of day. So obviously it's going to start moving. By the time we end the stream, the sun will be about there, and then it'll come down. We're getting a little glitchy on the connection here. And it'll come down to here. Now, why is this useful? This is incredibly useful if you are, let me get back to the main camera. This is incredibly useful if you are shooting outdoors, or even if you're going to be shooting somewhere that has a lot of windows. You want to be able to know as you work through the day where the sun is going to be. Because if all of a sudden, you know, when you're going to be ready to shoot at like, you know, 3 p.m. and you got all your lighting set up, but at 3 p.m., you know, the sun is going to be over there and coming directly in the windows and ruining all the lighting that you've spent hours setting up, that's going to be a problem. So the ability to track the sun, know where it's going to be when, is extremely useful. Even if you're shooting outside, it helps you to choose what angle, what direction you might shoot at, so that you can use the sun as sort of a key light. You know where it's going to be. If you want to have somebody backlit by the sun, you know where it's going to be. If you're trying to shoot a sunset, you know exactly where and when that sun is going to set. So there are a lot of apps out there that do this, but goodness, Sun Surveyor is definitely my favorite. It is my favorite one. I see another chat in here. We've got Richard coming in from Tucson, Arizona, where it's about 65 degrees outside. Wow, yeah. I definitely don't have that here. It is below freezing outside right now, and there is snow, which actually has now all turned to ice all over the ground. And the dryness and the cold is what is unfortunately dehydrating the heck out of me. So hopefully you guys can forgive my throat clearing. But we are talking about Sun Surveyor. So that was Sun Surveyor. Just a really quick, there's a lot of other stuff you can do in there, a lot of information, but really to bust that out and be able to real quick check where the sun is going to be, to either work around it or work with it. My dogs are playing in the other room. It's super handy. Now, Sun Surveyor is unfortunately not a free app, but I do think it is worth it. It is available on both iOS and Google Play. On iOS, it's $9.99, so $10, but it's one of the apps that I get the most use out of, which is why it was there on my front page of my filmmaking apps. And then on Google Play, actually, you get to save $2, and it's actually $7.99. So not sure why there's a price difference. Usually they're the same on both Google Play and iOS, but there we go. So let me pull that up one more time for you guys. So that is Sun Surveyor, giving you that awesome sort of augmented reality AR overlay of where the sun is and where the sun is going to be based on your GPS location. Obviously, it tracks exactly where you are. You can see here I'm in Laurel, Maryland. Luckily, that is not actually my address, but yeah, you can go ahead and track the sun. Something that seems super simple, but is extremely useful. All right. So I know, wait, main camera, here we go. So I know Trevor was in here saying that that's one of his favorite apps. So it sounds like he's quite familiar with it. And like I said, there are other apps out there for doing this similar thing, but Sun Surveyor is the one that I've found that works the best for me. Let's see here. Trevor says, funny, I don't remember paying for it, but I've had it for so many years. Maybe I did. Yeah, you know, I don't remember if I paid for it either, but I'm in the same boat. It is one that I have had for years and years. It was a part of my video that I made years ago. So this app is one that I have, even if it was $10, I mean, I have gotten so much use out of this, and it has made my shoots where I have to worry about sunlight or windows or being outside, so much easier because you know exactly what's going to happen. All right. I keep refreshing this connection. But anyway, we're going to keep moving on because we do have quite a few apps to go through. So let's get rid of Sun Surveyor there and let's go to the next app. All right, so the next app I have on here is one called Time-calc. And this is specifically for when you're trying to shoot a time-lapse. So time-lapses, they're an art form for sure, all their own. But sometimes I know, okay, I want to get this sunset or sunrise or whatever it is, and I want to have that end up being about like a 10-second clip. Well, what this allows you to do is you can go in and choose your frames per second. So, okay, we're going to be, let's call it 30 frames per second. Event length. So, okay, I'm going to shoot the sunset. I know that it's going to start setting at one time, and then 30 minutes later, it's going to be gone. So the event length I'm going to put in is going to be 30 minutes. Okay. And the clip length at the end. Okay, so how long do I want it to be? What did I say? I want this final clip to be 10 seconds. So I want that whole sunset to take place in 10 seconds when it's done. All right, so I'll hit that. And now just calculate the interval. Boom, there you go. You need a 6-second interval. You're going to get 300 frames. And it's going to take 30 minutes for that time lapse, and it's going to give you a 10-second clip at the end. This is so useful trying to calculate time lapses out. You know, I always had issues trying to calculate, like, okay, well, how long, or I shoot something and then it would run way longer than I wanted, and I'd end up just speeding it up in post, and it didn't look quite right. I wanted to do it sort of the purest way of actually timing it out, and all of that. But Time-calc has been a fantastic app for doing that. And, you know, you've got plenty of different frame rates that you can use. You can do custom FPS in here, so you don't have to stick to these ones that they've got in here. But, of course, this is the FPS that your final timeline will play in. So, okay, maybe you're shooting in 24, you know, let's see, what would that be? Okay, that's going to be a 7.5 second interval to get a 10-second clip, and you're going to have 240 frames. So this one's great. Time-calc, again, links in the description down below. Unfortunately, Time-calc is only available for iOS, and it is not free, but close. It's a 99-cent app. So Time-calc is great. I'm sure there are equivalent ones out there for Google Play, and I know these things are a dime a dozen. I guess it should be $1 a dozen, right? Because they're 99 cents on both app stores. You know, there's tons of calculators for this kind of stuff, but I've found that this one is just the simplest and cleanest in its interface. There's no nonsense to just go in, boom, 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 enter your stuff, and it spits out what you need to know, put those settings in your camera, and you're good to go. So that is Time-calc. I don't shoot as many time lapses as I used to when I was traveling, you know, but if you are a time lapse shooter or want to get into it, I mean, having this is going to just, who needs mental math? Nobody does mental math anymore, right? But yeah, Time-calc, time-lapse interval calculator. I really, really recommend it. All right, let's see. We're moving right along. What is my next app? Oh, this one. This next app, I absolutely love. I mean, I love all of these. That's why I'm recommending them. But this one in particular is fantastic. So it is called CAD-Rage Director's Viewfinder. You may have heard of it before. It is unfortunately only on iOS. Sorry to you Android guys out there. But this thing is amazing. So what it is it is a director's viewfinder. So it does run horizontally. So let me bring that up. Okay. So here we go. Now, this doesn't look like much, right? You'd say, okay, well, what use is this to me? Well, what it allows you to do, it allows you to basically, you know, try out different lenses and framing before you actually get to shooting. So when you're mapping out your shot, you can use this as it says, a director's viewfinder. And now what is amazing about this is how many cameras and lenses they actually have in this system here. So if you go to here, check this out. So I had it set for my old Blackmagic Ursa 4.6K, but if we go into camera, look at all these cameras. Arris, Blackmagics, Canon. So what this does is it knows the size of the sensor, and it knows the field of view on each of those. So let's go to the Pocket Cinema Camera 6K just for fun. Let's do that one. It's a more updated one. Now you can choose the shooting mode. So which mode are you going to be shooting in, because it can change the crop on the sensor. So let's say I want to shoot the full 6K. Okay, so I'm there. So aspect ratio, we're going to be shooting 16:9 on it. Okay, so I've got all that in there. No frame guides, and then lens series. Look, they have literally real lens sets already in here. I had done one that was just generic prime lenses because I was calculating this with my Rokinon cinema lenses back in the day. But you pick 5 lenses that you want. So for me, the lenses that I had were a 25, 35, 50, 75, and 100. All right, so that's the setup that I have there. So then open this up, and now this is showing me the exact framing that I will get with each of those lenses on the Blackmagic Pocket Camera 6K, shooting in 6K 16:9. So you can see the 25 is the outer frame, the 35 is there. So the 50, 75, and 100. Now, maybe I want to look at one of these. So, okay, let me just see full screen what the 100 will do. Let's look at my little Tron bike here. So double tap, and it brings me full screen on that 100. Now let's tap here. Let's go to the 75. Okay, the 50, the 35. Say, oh, the 50 gets them both. That looks pretty good. So now I knew if I wanted to get the shot like this, I would use my 50mm lens on the Pocket 6K camera, and the field of view would be this. So this is pretty daggone amazing. Double tap again, and we can see, very quickly where each of them are. Now, my mug here on screen, let me turn myself off, is covering some other options here. So you can actually record video and snap photos of this, so you can do some sort of like storyboarding with this as well, in addition to seeing what your framing is going to be like. So you input your camera, you input your lens set, and you can save lens sets, so you don't have to go through all that. Say, okay, I'm using my Schneider set this time, so I'd pull up the Schneider Xenon set of lenses, and it would show me the framing for those. This is a fantastically useful app. You can, you're walking into a spot, you need to frame up some shots, you don't want to waste time, which lens is gonna give me what. As you get better at it, you're gonna sort of know it just by eye, like, what lens will give you kind of what look and what framing. But this will tell you for sure and allow you to frame that stuff up. Pretty cool. Oops. My phone closed on me. But yeah, so really, really awesome stuff. Now, again, this is only available on iOS. I'm not sure of any equivalents out there on Android, Google Play and whatnot. So if anybody out there does know of something like this, please share it in the comments down below so that our lovely Android friends can find something like this to use for themselves. But on iOS, this is not a free app. You do pay for all the research and everything that they've done for that database of cameras and lenses. So it is a one-time purchase of $19.99. So it is a $20 app, which a lot of people were probably thinking, oh my goodness, I would never pay that much for an app. But if you're like me and you get serious use out of it, like I said, this is another one that was in my old video from years and years ago, and I still use it. I use it on almost every shoot. So the use that I've gotten out of it is well beyond the $19.99 that I paid for it. So there you go, guys. That is CADbridge Director's Viewfinder. All right, next we're gonna get to, after the sticker shock of a $20 app there, I'm gonna throw one your guys' way that's a free app, and it's free. Usric70 just joining. What is the name of the app? Not sure which app you're referring to, but they are all down in the description down below with links to where they are available on both platforms. So feel free to go back. They are in the order that we're going through them, so you can check that out there, because I'm not sure which app you are referring to. But anyway, let's go here. All right, so the next app, like I said, let's give you guys something that's free. Free is always good. So this one is called DataCalc, and it's actually from AJA. So AJA, or Aja, they've been a big company. They're almost sort of like Black Magic in terms of they dealt with codecs and processing and all that kind of stuff. They had an ill-fated camera, the Scion, a few years ago. But anyway, they put out this free app. It is free for both iOS and Google Play, and it's AJA DataCalc. Now, what is this? So basically, this is to calculate how much storage space you're going to need for different shooting codecs. So you can choose different devices. I just go with generic. So here you go. I'm going to shoot 1 hour of Apple ProRes HQ at 29.97. My audio is going to be 44.1, 2-channel, 8-bit. There you go. At that bit rate, 32.14 gigabytes. That's what it says. The other way that you can go through is you can do Time-calc, which sort of runs it in reverse. So you can say, okay, I've got a hard drive that's this big. How long can I record to it? So I've got a 500 gigabyte drive. Okay. Boom. How long? Okay. There you go. 15 hours I can fit on there. So there's a lot you can do in here. A lot of the stuff, like all this KI Store, SSD, all that kind of stuff. Some of it's a little bit proprietary to their particular products and whatnot. But if you're in a pinch and you have a drive and you don't know how much space, how much recording you're going to get onto it, then this can be really handy to go ahead and just real quick make sure you have enough drives. So also, if I'm ordering drives for a project, say, okay, I know we're going to be shooting for like 3 days. I know we're going to be shooting in ProRes RAW or just, ProRes or whatever codec it may be. I know we're going to have some long interviews and stuff like that. So how much can I fit on what size drives? And then I know what size drives to order so that I'm not over ordering. But, it's free. It's handy. It helps you calculate that stuff out. That's AJA DataCalc, free for both iOS and Android. Links down below. All right. Moving right along. This next app is one that is specifically for pre-production, and it is called Shot Lister. So Shot Lister, you probably have guessed, Shot Lister is for creating shot lists. So here we go. We'll open it up. And right now I don't have any in here, but they do have a sample one for Indiana Jones. And so what it does is it breaks down your shot list. So if you're an AD, this could be your absolute best friend. So what you can do is you can actually input scripts into this and then break them down and import stuff. You can do Celtics docs or Celtics, I guess, and Final Draft. You can import a script in there. So basically what this allows you to do is you can organize, set up a shot list, you can share it, you can rearrange it, and like I said, if you're an AD and you're trying to organize the day, or oh my goodness, like stuff is way off schedule, I need to change stuff around, you can move the order of the shots and reschedule your day. So this might not be for everybody depending on how much pre-production you really do, but the ability to import your script directly into this is awesome. So they also do have a version for Mac OS on the desktop. So that means that you could actually set everything up on your desktop, if you don't want to work on a mobile device, but then you can obviously send and sync that information to your mobile device so that you have it in your pocket when you're on set and good to go. So this is available on both iOS and Google Play. Now the pricing is interesting. So it is free on iOS, but there's a bunch of subscription options for it. So you can get the free version, which I think allows you to run like 2 projects, and has some other caveats and stuff like that. But then you'd have to pay a subscription fee to get a sort of fully unlocked and go premium. So you can check that out in the link. So it's free to get and use, but if you really want to maximize the use of it, that's where you're going to end up paying. And that option is not available on Google Play. On Google Play, there is no free sort of demo version of it. It's just a flat rate of $13.99. So it is available on both. To really get the full functionality, you're going to be spending that about $14-15 on either platform to really unlock it, and to really get the most out of it. If you are an iOS and Mac OS user, they do have that desktop version of the software as well that could make it a lot easier for you to bring your script in, set everything up in a little bit larger of an interface, and then pass it over to your mobile device for when it's on set. So there you go. Might not be for everybody depending on your role on set, but if you really do need to make a shot list and keep track of it, boom, Shot Lister is the way to go. All right. Moving right along, we're going to get into yet another pre-production type app, and this is for all you writers out there. So if you are writing scripts, writing on the go, whatever we got Scripts Pro. Super simple, super easy. It is a scripts app. So you can write scripts, you can break down the scripts. I think one of my cats is coming to hang out. Tag the scripts, different scenes, interior, exterior, night, day, characters. So it has all of the proper formatting that you would find for screenplays. And you can type, you can work in this app, you can edit your script, you can write your entire script. Also available for iPad, so you can use a little keyboard and do that. But the cool thing is this also is compatible with Final Draft documents and also Celtics documents. So you can use either of those editing or scripting and screenwriting softwares. You can use those on your desktop, do your regular writing, and then sync that and send it over to here, and you can continue or modify your work on here and then also send it back again. So it keeps your script with you wherever you are on the go. You get an idea, you want to start scripting something, boom, you can do it right on your phone or on your iPad. Now, Scripts Pro in particular is only iOS, guys. It is also a paid app. It is $9.99. But that compatibility with established screenwriting software like Final Draft, like Celtics, that really, I think, makes it worth it. I don't know that I would actually sit and necessarily be writing a script on my phone, perhaps on the iPad. That is a definite possibility. But doing a script on your desktop and being able to then seamlessly bring it over properly formatted to a mobile device is great. So that, pardon me, is Scripts Pro. Again, only iOS, and it is a $9.99. Now this next app, I know I'm kind of tearing through these guys, but it's because I got a bunch. I'm keeping my eye on the time here. This next app is absolutely amazing. It is a database of everything you could ever possibly want to know about seemingly every camera that exists. And it is called Cameras and Formats. It just says cameras on here, but let's open this guy up. And you can already start to see what we've got going on here. Basically, you can select any camera that is out there, and it is going to give you a plethora of information on that camera. So here, the one that just pulled up was the Arri Alexa 65. It's large format, 14 plus stops. It was released in 2014, up to 6.5K. It shows you the formats that it can shoot in, the sensor size, the shutter type, internal ND, its native ISO, its weight, its audio, media type, resources. It has a link. It has a support number, and then it has stuff about it. So if we go and click up here, you can see all of these different formats and cameras that are in here. So again, I shoot Blackmagic, so let's go to my Blackmagic. Let's see here, pocket cinema camera. Let's do the 4K this time. So let's see what that guy's got. And here's all the information about the Blackmagic pocket cinema camera 4K. Micro Four Thirds up to 4K, 2018, Blackmagic RAW and ProRes, active MFT, native ISO 400 and 3200, CFast, SD, like so much information in here. Formats, you can find out everything you need to know about different recording formats, what it can do, intraframe compression, audio, like there's so much information in here. What this is useful for is maybe you're operating a camera that isn't yours, one that you're not particularly familiar with, and you need to look something up. This is the app for you. It's got, drones, okay? Like Inspire 2 with different cameras, like all this stuff, like it's incredible. It has storage. It'll help calculate storage that you need for you and transfer speed. It's an incredible app. I could spend the entire time going through this and just discovering even new features in it. Basically, it is an all-inclusive database of cameras, and it is great. So, man, I love this app. So this app is, again, unfortunately, only available on iOS. It is, again, called Cameras and Formats. It's Cameras Plus Formats is the way that they list it. And it's kind of interesting because, of course, there's got to be a price to the work behind building and keeping this database up to date. So the app is actually free to download, but you only get a limited amount of cameras and all that kind of stuff in there. If you want to unlock all the rest of it and continue to get updates as they add new cameras and all that kind of stuff, you need to go for a subscription. So they do have like a lifetime subscription for, I think it's like $50, which will set you forever. I know that seems like a lot. Well, maybe you can opt in for some of the month-to-month ones and see how that goes. But I personally went for the lifetime because I never have to worry about it again. There's a new camera out there. They're on top of it. They get all the information input into here, and you're good to go. So that is Cameras and Formats. One of my favorite. It is just, it's got absolutely everything. You're using a camera that you haven't used before. You need to get it up and running real quick. You're like, oh, what's its native ISO so I can get the cleanest image? Boom, pull it up right here. Boom, 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 done. Good to go. What's the weight on it? Oh, there you go, 1.6 pounds. Really incredible app. And I haven't tried calling any of these numbers, but the fact that they have websites and support phone numbers directly in the app is pretty sweet. They've really done their research and put a lot of information into this particular app. All right, moving right along. We're doing great. I'm keeping an eye on the chat. I haven't seen much chat come through, guys, but let me remind you again, if you are here in the chat, please feel free to chat, and you'll pop up right here on the screen. And let me know if you have any questions or comments. If you've used any of these apps, if any of these are new to you and you think maybe they'll be useful to you, please let me know. But yeah, I am keeping an eye on our chat, but I am also tearing through apps because I want to make sure that I get through them all in a timely fashion. All right, where were we? Back to my phone. Here we go. All right, this next one is very similar to Sun Surveyor, and it has a very sort of unique use case. I don't necessarily use it that often, but when I need it, I'm glad that I have it. So it is called Sky Guide. So you may have heard of this, but basically what Sky Guide is, it's going to be very similar to what we had going on with Sun Surveyor, where it'll tag my location. There we go. It knows where I am. It knows by the compass. And then what it's showing me is actually real time of where all the stars are in the sky around me. So if it was nighttime and I was pointing this up at the sky, these would actually line up and match up with the stars that I was seeing, and I would be able to identify them. So this is actually a really cool app. That's sometimes just for fun. My wife and I, you see stuff in the night sky. You want to know, oh, what is that? Is that a planet? Like Venus is right there. And so you can go and identify it. But what this is also super useful for is if anybody does long exposure photography, not necessarily as much video, but if you're doing long exposure photography or star trails or anything like that, and you want to get a shot of the Milky Way, what this will do is show you exactly where the Milky Way is so that you will have the best chance of seeing it. So it's funny because it even does like below. So this is below the horizon. So all these parts of the Milky Way are actually below the horizon right now, so I won't be able to see them. But if I were to take a photo or set my camera up pointed in this direction, I should be able to get that portion of the Milky Way and night sky in my long exposure shot. So, more of a fun thing just to have for, information purposes, and to look up at the night sky is pretty cool. But if you are doing sort of astrophotography, that can be super, super useful to know where that's going to be, because of course it's daytime right now, so I can't see any of that, but I would know, okay, this is where the Milky Way is going to be, and I can be ready for it when night falls and I'm ready to take my pictures. So Sky Guide, that particular one is only iOS. It is a $2.99 app, but I think it's totally worth it. Really, really cool app. Really fun to sometimes just identify things in the night sky, even if you're not doing, astral photography or anything like that. I'm sure there's got to be an equivalent out there on Android. If anybody knows, please feel free to leave it down in the comments below, the name of it. I don't think links will work, but you can at least leave the name of it. And let me know if you found something that you're using over there on the Android platform for looking at the night sky and knowing where stars and the Milky Way and all that kind of stuff are going to be. All right, where are we? Okay. Moving right along. Get back to my phone. Calls and notifications I turned off. Don't need people calling me in the middle of my stream and it popping up here. All right, so the last one on page 1 here, guys, is one that, again, is sort of like a dime a dozen. There's a ton of these apps out there, and I've sifted through a lot of them, and this is one of my favorites that I found. This is called Teleprompter Premium, okay? So, well, you can see there, got some ads in here, so we'll get to that. But this is a fantastic teleprompter app. So right now I have it running on my phone, but obviously it works on an iPad as well. And actually this is also available on Google Play. So if I were using my phone as a teleprompter, a small one, pop it in there, I could do that. You just pull this up. Here you go. Get it started. You can adjust the speed. Their speed things are a turtle and a rabbit, tortoise and the hare. You can flip it which way it goes, and it's just, you can edit the scripts in here. Really straightforward, right? Okay. Then you can also add scripts, and it's kind of nifty because you can actually import them from a bunch of online sources. So what I'll do is I'll make just a plain text, in Microsoft Word or something. I'll make just the text of the, the dialogue or the script, drop it into a folder in Dropbox, and then you can import it into here, and boom, it pops up. It's all ready to go. So that is super handy to be able to dump your scripts in, pull them from something like Dropbox or Google Drive or, iCloud or wherever you've got them in there. The other use for this, so as I said, this is on my phone right now, and that's how we're showing it. But to be honest, I usually use it on my iPad because the iPad is a bigger screen. It's much better for teleprompter purposes. But you'll see here on the iPhone version of it, it says remote. Okay, so what this does is it will actually, you run the app both on your phone and on the iPad. So it'll have the script up on the iPad. And then if I tap remote, what I'll be able to do is use this as a remote for the iPad. So I can slow stuff down, I can speed it up, I can start and stop it, I can pause it, and all that from my phone. So you could keep this down and out of sight as you're talking to camera. Oops, sorry. Oriented it funny, and just with your thumb you can go ahead and remotely control. So if the script is starting to get away from you, you can slow it down a little bit so that you don't have to worry about it, and you can do this all by yourself, so you don't have to worry about going over and stopping, starting it, and having to do a whole nother take again. So that's pretty cool. They work in tandem there. I haven't tried it on Android devices, but it is available in the Google Play Store as well. So I would assume that you could do this with an Android tablet and an Android phone as well. Just can't confirm that, but I know on iOS it's actually really handy and pretty cool. Now, Teleprompter Premium is what this is called, and as we saw in the very beginning, there was some ads there. So on iOS, Teleprompter Premium is free, but there are a few paid upgrade options. So this works just fine, but right now it has ads. So I think there's one thing to remove ads, for like $3 or something like that. And then they have some other subscriptions that'll enable some more advanced features. So depending on what you need, you can go ahead and do those, or you can actually get it completely for free on iOS. Now on Google Play, they don't give that option. On Google Play, it is a flat fee of $9.99, and that gives you what they call Teleprompter Premium Pro, and no ads, everything works, and you're good to go. So that is the deal there. Again, another app where we don't have a sort of stripped down free version on Google Play. Google Play, you just sort of pay and get the full everything unlocked. So links to those are down in the description down below, but that is my favorite teleprompter app. I know there's a ton of them out there. This one is just the most no nonsense. It's simple, it works. And the remote feature is really useful, especially when I'm filming myself. All right, we're moving right through. I better pick it up or this is going to be a long stream. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I know the chat has been kind of quiet today, but that is all right. Hopefully it's because you are glued to the screen, interested in everything that I am showing. All right, so we're going to whip through a couple of these here. This next one is really interesting. It's something that I found. It's called Light Spectrum Pro. Available on iOS and on Google Play. It is $1.99 on iOS, and it is, for some reason, $1 more, $2.99 on Google Play. But what this is it is a light and color meter. So what it's doing, this isn't a professional, calibrated like Sekonic color meter or anything like that. But basically what it's doing is it's giving me at least a general reading of what my Kelvin temp would be. So if I point up here, it's telling me that I'm at about 5950 at that target. It shows me the temperature, it shows me the tint, it shows me the wavelength. So this thing's kind of cool. So whether it's 100% accurate, you know, it's how much do you want to trust it. It's not a super calibrated thing. It's just using your phone's camera. But it'll get you close enough. So if you want to take a quick reading in a room, I have colors here, so it's kind of throwing it off a little bit. But if you want to take a quick reading of the overall look in a room without spending a ton of money on an actual color meter to then dial in your white balance or dial in your lights to match that, this is a good starting point. This is a good thing, and especially for $1.99 or $2.99, that's, you know, you kind of can't beat that, because color meters are like $800. Or what am I talking about? I got one on sale for like $800. They're like $1,600. They are not cheap devices. And so if you can get something that will at least take the place of that and get you maybe, you know, 90% of the way there, and then you can fiddle with your white balance, I think that's totally worth it. So that is Light Spectrum Pro, $1.99 on iOS and $2.99 on Google Play. It's pretty cool. That is one that I've also been using for years. I do have a full-on color meter, but like I said, if I've got my phone in my pocket, I just want to take a quick reading real quick, get an idea. Okay, this room is, you know, I'm going to have to light an interview in here. I need to know what generally the white balance is of the lights that I can't shut off. Then, boom, can do it with that. Let me keep on moving here. All right. These next two apps are interesting, and they're not going to be for everybody. Again, there are a lot of apps in here that have uses that might not be for everybody. But if you are the person that needs it, maybe this is like the piece you have been waiting for. So this one is called VFX Screens. What it does is it gives you a green screen and tracking markers on your mobile device. So if you are shooting an ad for like an app or something like that, and you need to superimpose or do some keying and put the change what's on this screen in post later, you can do it with this, and you also have finger tracking for where your person is clicking and moving. So you have all these markers so that you can successfully track and key this in post and put whatever you want on your phone. So let me show you, it doesn't look like much there, but the idea is, if I were, working right here, this could be keyed and they could change what's on here. And if you press and hold, you can change the patterns, you can change the color, you can change what kind of markers you have on there, you can change if there are touch markers for the fingers, if there's swipe stuff, if there's scroll. Let me pull it back up. Okay, so not now. So if I swipe, it's got the scroll, so it'll track the scrolling speed. So it gives you all these markers and stuff. So if you are shooting a mobile device and you need to key something onto that, this is the easiest way to do it. And it is accurate, and you have so much customization inside this app to put this on here. It is available on iPads as well. Let me check here. It is only available on iOS. And when I said that there's a very specific use case for this app, I mean, obviously this is cool, but the price I think is quite high for what it is. Unless you're someone who does this day in, day out, and need this, then yeah, it'd be a piece of cake. But to be honest, this thing's $29.99. I personally think it should be a bit lower. I did buy it. We did, I did a few shoots a couple years ago where we did have to, do some keying on mobile devices and put the screens on in post. And it was super useful for that, but I still do think it's a little bit high. But if you're someone who is doing this day in, day out, you know, $29.99 could save you a huge amount of headache when you're trying to take care of this in post. It's so much better than just putting a green image up on here because of the fact that it moves and the fact that it finger tracks and it tracks for the scrolling. So that stuff you would have to sort of animate and figure out on your own, but this does it all right within the app. So take it or leave it. That is VFX screens. The next one is, I won't say similar, but also a very unique and niche app, and it is called Green Screener. And it runs horizontally, so let me pull this up. So this is Green Screener. This is one that I have used many a time. And what it does is it allows you to make sure that you have an evenly lit green screen. So if we go ahead and start, it's showing me what's in front of me, but it is limiting everything to particular channels. So I can look at the blue channel, the green channel, the red channel, overall luminance. But what it's going to do, let me point it at a curtain here, is I can see here on the green channel that I'm not quite evenly lit across that curtain right there. So what I would want to do is work on that until my gradients were all pretty even. Ooh, it's like predator vision. That's cool. So yeah, it would work a lot better. You'd see it a lot better if I were actually pointing it at a green screen as opposed to just everywhere here on my desk. But it is, let me set the target. There you go. Target set at 63% green. So yeah, if you're trying to set up a green screen, this is super useful for making sure that you have a nice even key, because as you may know, if you work with green screens, it's not about how much light you have on that green screen. It's about how even the light is across that green screen. That's what's going to, make it easiest for you to pull a key. Let me get out of this real quick. There we go. But anyway, that is called Green Screener. Again, very specific use case, but can be super useful if you're doing a lot of green screen stuff, just to make sure that you are getting that nice even light across your green screen. So that is available on both iOS and Google Play, and it is available for $9.99. Again, I think it might be a little expensive for what it is, but if you're doing green screen stuff all the time, $10, have it for life, and just, make sure you get all that stuff going. Wow. I knew I had a lot of apps, but man, we're almost at the hour mark and I still have a couple more to go. I'm going to have to kind of tear through them here. But we will not quit. We will press on. Let me show you guys here. All right, this next app, a lot of you are probably familiar with. And it is on both iOS and Google Play for $14.99, and it is Filmic Pro. Now, Filmic Pro is really used specifically for actually filming with your device. So this isn't something that I do very often, but Filmic Pro, if you are shooting stuff with your phone, Filmic Pro is the way to go. That's actually really interesting. It's the frame rate that it's using is, you see it refreshing weird against the lights of that. That's pretty cool. But anyway, I'm not going to go super deep into Filmic Pro because, I mean, there are so many features in here. Frame rates, resolutions, changing color temperature. Basically, it gives you pro camera features on your mobile device, and you can shoot some actually amazing video with these mobile devices these days. And Filmic Pro really unlocks the potential and manual capabilities of your device to be able to shoot stuff. There have been feature films, mostly indie ones, but that have been shot on iPhones using Filmic Pro, and Filmic Pro is awesome. So yeah, Trevor's in the chat saying Filmic Pro is a big deal. I could do an entire episode on just Filmic Pro as like itself, but it really unlocks the features. I mean, look at this. I've got audio levels. I've got, color temperature. You've got everything that you would have on a high-end camera. Now you have manual control over it on a mobile device. So available both iOS and Google Play, $14.99, one that is totally worth it. And I'm sure anyone in the video industry has heard of Filmic Pro. It's incredible. So look at that. That's so cool. But anyway, let's get out of Filmic Pro. And let's see what next app we got. All right, this next one. So I've been giving you guys a lot of apps that are that cost. So again, now we're going to come and throw in one of those freebies. So yeah, everybody loves free. And actually, I'd like to thank Caleb Pike, DSLR video shooter, for this app. He shared it during one of their Camera and Flask live streams over on the C47 channel. Make sure you check them out. Wednesday nights they do their streams. But he mentioned that he was using this app, and I went and grabbed it like right away. It is called No Budget Slate. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It's free, so no budget. And open it up. It's a slate. So that's pretty much what it is. You go in, like with any slate, you can touch stuff. You can, all right, this is now scene 2. Okay. So yeah, modify your slate, time, date, all that stuff. If you don't have a slate, but you have a mobile device, you can go ahead and use this. And one of the cool things is, I have my sound turned off right now, don't I? Let me do that again. If you swipe on it, so you can look at my screen here. I think it's not doing it because we're plugged in. But it gives you, it actually beeps. It gives you a tone. And it gives you the color. So you have both a visual cue and an audio cue that will be in there, so that when you do your sync and post, if you're doing dual system sound, you have that in there. So this is totally free, totally simple. Let me see if I can cut out of this, and we'll see if I can get it to make the noise. There we go. Yeah, it's because I was connected. It wasn't doing it. So hear that? So you get the 2 beeps, and you get the the colors, the red and green, and there you go. You're off, and that should be enough for you to sync both visually and by audio. Completely free, called No Budget Slate. It is on iOS only, this particular one. I'm sure there's got to be equivalents out there on Google Play, but this is just so simple. You know, oh, we forgot our slate. Well, I got my phone. Let's do this. And it's free. Everybody likes free. That's great. And yeah, big shout out to Caleb Pike, DSLR video shooter, for sharing that one and turning me on to that particular app. That's awesome. Now, these next two I'm going to go through pretty quickly here because they're in a different category. So they're not necessarily production assist tools, but what they are is they are for cataloging your gear, keeping track of it, and keeping it safe and protected in the event of theft, damage, and that kind of thing. So these two apps are very similar. I have both, and I'll let you sort of decide which one's the best for you. Let me get back to here. But basically, we have Lens Tag and My Gear Vault. Now, My Gear Vault was actually made by Frono's Photo, Jared Polin. If you guys know him and follow him on YouTube, he designed this app and got it going, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You know, My Gear Vault, you go ahead and you add gear, you build kits, categories. He has links for recommendations for insurance, and all sorts of stuff. So it allows you to just build your kits, enter your gear in there. You know, you'll have serial numbers, you'll have all that stuff. So you have it all safe and stored in one place. Now, one that's very interesting and similar to that, and actually is the one that I've had longer, is Lens Tag. So here's Lens Tag. Lens Tag, very similar. You would log in and you add gear. So here you go. This is an old kit. Obviously I have like GoPros in there that, you know, I no longer have, but you go ahead and you can add pictures to stuff. You add serial numbers, you add all your cameras, all your lenses, all your everything in here, and then it's all saved and stored. And what you can then do is actually LensTag has a community of everybody who's on LensTag. So if something is stolen, you can mark it as stolen, and it'll send out to everybody on LensTag the serial number and ID of this stolen camera. And the idea is that if you're buying used gear, you want to check the serial numbers in your LensTag app if you're purchasing. And then it will tell you if any users of LensTag have marked this as stolen. So I am very thankful that I haven't had to use that feature yet, but it is kind of cool that it has a community of users that, you know, if your gear is stolen, you can hopefully have a better chance of somebody seeing it if it is trying to be sold, you know, on the used market. If they hawked it somewhere to like a, you know, a pawn shop, and then you're purchasing it, you want to check it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're both there, and they're great, not just for security purposes, but also, you know, it's nice to have all your gear categorized, listed, and serial numbers and all that stuff all in one place. You know, if you ever need to look that stuff up, trust me, when you have a fire and lose all of your gear, it is nice to have a detailed record of everything that you had with serial numbers and proofs of purchase and all of that. So that is a unique experience that I had to go through. But being meticulous and having all that stuff in there means that, you know, I knew what I had, I knew what I lost, and we were able to, you know, make claims to recover that stuff. So, you know, staying organized pays off, whether it's just for peace of mind, for OCD, or if it, you know, comes in handy in the event of, you know, a tragedy or theft. So those are cool. My Gear Vault is free on both iOS and Google Play. LensTag is also free on iOS and Google Play, but LensTag does have a yearly subscription. So to be part of that LensTag community and have those things, those features that I mentioned to, you know, be a part of the community and keep all your stuff safe, and the services of sending out, you know, alerts for stolen gear, there is an annual subscription. I think there's monthly plans in there as well. Links are all down below. But it's not free, but it gives you that added protection, and you're part of that community of LensTag users. So it's pretty cool. But we have been moving our way through. I know I tore through those last ones, but there you go, guys. That is all the apps that I had in this particular filmmaking folder. You know, we talked about stuff that goes through pre-production, during production, planning, and even some post stuff in terms of, you know, green screening and keying. But there is another quick category that I want to go into. I have two apps that I want to share, and that is for my drone people out there. So as you may know, I have been flying DJI drones since the Phantom 1, way back in the beginning. And I like to be a safe pilot, and you should as well, especially with all of the rules and regulations that we have these days, not only in the US, but in every country pretty much. So you need to make sure that you are allowed to fly and that you're flying safe and that the conditions are safe. So these apps that I'm going to show you, the first one is specifically for the United States. And it is released actually by the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, the ones who make the drone rules and regulations. So you can trust this one. It is called Before You Fly. So you open this up. Yeah. I guess it must have updated. Yeah, I agree. Disclaimer. Yep, giving all of my information to the government. Boom. So what does this do? Right now, this is showing a real-time map of where I am and what the regulations are for flying a drone. If I wanted to go out and fly my drone right now, am I allowed to do it? So here it says, caution, review active advisories for a compliant operation. So let me view the details. So here we go. I got to be careful. if we take a look at all this, it shows me all these things. So special flight rules, because I'm really close to Washington, D.C. here. So it will show you all of the alerts or complications with your particular area. Now, if I take this and zoom it out, you can see here, I am inside an area around Washington, D.C., where obviously it is a very restricted airspace. It's not completely a no-go. I'm in the yellow. I'm outside of the absolute no-fly zone circle. But basically, this shows you where airports are, where, military areas and national parks and stuff that you can't fly in are. And so you can pull this up and you know exactly if you're allowed to fly in that area or not. This is direct from the United States Federal Aviation Administration, so you can trust this info. Pretty cool. Trevor saying, the real question is, does the drone have to wear a mask if it comes within 6 feet of another person? I don't think so. The drone came within 6 feet of another person. Let me tell you, you are not flying safely. This app will not help you with that. Don't do that. But yeah, so this app is free. It is available on iOS and Google Play. Obviously the FAA wanted to make this available for all drone pilots out there. And so it is free. It's on all the platforms. You can go ahead and check it out. If you are flying drones, please be responsible. If you pull up this and it says don't fly there, don't fly there. You're just going to get in trouble. Or even if you don't get in trouble, you're setting a bad example for the drone community. It's important to be safe. It's important to follow the guidelines. So this is the one that is directly from the FAA. It's before you fly. I recommend it. Try it out. Now, obviously, this is primarily in the United States. Other countries may have similar ones. Actually, it was pretty cool. Few years ago, I was in Portugal, in Lisbon, and they actually had an app just like this for Portugal. So I was able to pull it up. It was the same kind of thing, and showed me exactly where the no-fly zones and what the regulations were and that kind of stuff for where I was in Portugal. So you may need to look up, if you're in a different country, if your country has something like this. You can see here, this is all the naval bases and stuff down in this area. So, definitely not allowed to fly in there and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, look it up, stay safe. Now, the next one is, it is similar, that it gives you that similar information, but it actually gives you a lot more information than just no-fly zones. And I really like this app. It's called Drone Buddy. So here we go, open up Drone Buddy, and now you can see Drone Buddy is giving me a ton of information, as well as an ad down at the end. Ooh, look, I won. Now, but what Drone Buddy will do is it's going to give you all the information that you would need as a drone pilot for your location. So right now, where I am, it is 36 degrees outside, 36 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind is at 2.7 miles per hour. That's actually not too bad. Wind gusts at 5.9. That's not too bad either. I mean, sometimes I've seen it where I'm like, okay, we're going to do a drone shot later on today, and I look and it's like 35 mile per hour winds. I'm like, nope, that's not happening today. It also gives me some times for the sunrise and sunset, which is kind of nice. So obviously the sun's on its way down today. At 4:49 p.m., it will be sunset time. But it does that same thing where I can get no fly zones and everything here. And so you'll see very similar to what we were seeing on the FAA map, just a little bit different styling, but shows me all of the hospitals and little airfields and all these areas where you either need to obtain special permission to fly, or around DC where it is an absolute no-fly zone. So you can see down here at the bottom, it's a little hard to read, but it says Access Pro Map feature, airspace info, fly advisories, call ATC tower, optional rule for FAA 107, FAA 333 holder. So what that means is, so this is Drone Buddy. Drone Buddy is free on both the iOS and Google Play Store, but there are subscriptions for that pro version. And what that pro version will do is it'll get rid of this advertisement that I have down there at the bottom, and then it'll also give you direct access. And this is really cool. I used to have it, so I might have to check and make sure that my account is still registered with them. But what it does is if you are in one of those yellow areas where you need to obtain permission, it gives you a phone number for directly connecting the air traffic control tower that you need to talk to get permission to fly in that area. So that is information that can sometimes be really, really difficult to track down, but they have it all in here. And so if you are an FAA in the US here, if you're an FAA Part 107 certificate holder, meaning you can get permission to fly, it gives you all the contacts that you need to go in and make sure that you set up your flight safely and inform the tower. If you're in an area that is complete no-fly zone, it'll tell you complete no-fly zone. Nothing you can do, nobody you can call. And if you are in an area where, hey, you're good to go, it'll tell you, hey, you're good to go. Have fun. Just watch those winds. But yeah. So there you go. That is Drone Buddy. You know, not free, but it does give you a lot more information in one place. If you just want to know the no-fly zones, that's all you need. The free one here in the US from the FAA is that before you fly. Look at the government trying to be all hip and B4, like the number 4. You fly, you, the letter U. They're trying to be hip with the kids. We know the truth. But anyway, there you go, guys. I ran through the rest of those pretty quickly because we are actually a little bit over time here, just by about 15 minutes. But I need to return you all to your Saturday, and I need to get to my Saturday. So we're going to go ahead and start bringing this stream to a close. I know we went through a ton of apps. And there are links to all of them down below. Again, I have listed both the Google Play and iOS versions of the apps where they are available on both platforms. So you can go ahead and check those out. Yes, Trevor, hip with the kids. Don't the kids still say that? Maybe I'm trying to be hip with the kids. Am I out of touch? What has happened? Oh, no. But anyway, there's links to everything down below, guys, so that you can check out these apps. You know, a couple free ones, bunch of paid ones, but basically these are the ones that I've been using and I get the most use out of and really help me streamline my production process, whether it be pre-production, whether it be lighting and framing, whether it be actually shooting, whether it be post, or whether it be drone flying. And to speak of that, I'm not sure if this worked. Let me see. Nah, it didn't work. So unfortunately, for some reason, my my post of our straw poll did not go through. I was trying to post it. You know, I put a poll at the very beginning. We do our weekly polls, and I shared the link, and for whatever reason, the link did not go through into the chat, and therefore we have nobody in our poll. So I will just leave this then. It'll have to be something that you guys do afterwards. I always leave these live, but our weekly poll this week was: how do you use apps in your video production process? You can choose as many as are applicable to you. Please feel free to go ahead and do this. I'm sorry we didn't get any live results during the show today, but I always leave these up and running. There is a link in the description down below, so you can go ahead and vote, and it's always fun to check on these after about a week or two and see what kind of results we're getting there. So as you can see, guys, we did go through apps that cover all of these sort of generalized categories. So I'd be interested to see, you know, if you do use apps, which of those categories of app use in your production process you find yourself using the most. Anyway, guys, I am going to, like I said, wrap this up. We are over time. I appreciate all of you who were here in the chat hanging out. Trevor saying, I'll be checking out the Director's Viewfinder app. Trevor, totally worth it. absolutely love that app, the CAD Rage Director's Viewfinder. Like I said, little pricey, but for one-time purchase price, and then having access to all those cameras and all those lenses to test stuff out and test framing and audition, lenses and cameras and stuff like that. It's amazing. It's one of my top apps for sure. Hopefully you guys, like Trevor, found some stuff in here that you hadn't seen before that you think could be useful. If you do have other apps that I didn't, that I don't know about, because there's so many out there, feel free to leave them down in the description down below afterwards, so that everybody can check them out and we can take a look. And who knows, maybe I'll have a 2021 updated app video coming. We'll have to see. But if you do want to continue the app discussion with me and learn a little bit more, you can go ahead and follow me on social media. All the links are down below. And there's also a link down below to my Discord server. So you can hop in there and you can pretty much get in touch with me 24/7, except when I'm sleeping. But yeah, it's a great group over there. We get some good discussions going on. And if you have questions about apps or anything else, really, feel free to join that group, and I hope to see you guys in there. And of course, as always, if you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click that notification bell, and that way you'll be able to join us live every time we go live. Yeah, I guess. So next week we will have a live stream. It is going to be the day after Christmas. Goodness gracious, Christmas is next Friday. We are going to have a stream because that's going to be the final stream of 2020. We're going to say goodbye to this demonetized word year, and we're gonna take probably a little look back at a bunch of stuff, and I haven't figured out exactly the theme of that stream, but it is going to be the last stream of 2020, so I do want to make sure that we get that in. So everybody have a fantastic holiday, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you very much for hanging out. And it's always a pleasure, and I will see you guys next week, and we will close out 2020 together, and hopefully just a big sigh of relief. All right, guys, you take care of yourselves, and I am out of here. Best year ever. Trevor, that's enough. I'm out. We ain't taking that. All right, guys, see ya.